Guys, there are 3 stocks that I will buy in September of 2024 if the price hit the value that I need them to hit. Now, 2 of them I already own. 1 I have puts on that look like I'm going to get them assigned. First one is PayPal. Guys, we've talked about PayPal a lot. I've seen it discussed by a lot of people on Twitter, and it's a company that struggled from a stock perspective. All-time high, $310 per share, hit a low last year of $50, and now it is pretty close to its 52-week high. It's at $70.50. Now, PayPal is a company that is currently selling for almost single digits price to free cash flow. When it got down to $50 a share, it was selling for like 8 times free cash flow or something close to that. That's incredible. PayPal owns Venmo. PayPal, if you remember in other videos we've done about it, is seeing a decline in actual users, but the amount of transactions per user is up, the dollar amount per user is up, and that's really what's driving the value. Would I prefer the number of users overall be going up? Absolutely. But PayPal does have a good reputation for security and safety in transactions, and that's what really matters, especially when you're buying things abroad. Venmo is a great source. It's also a verb. Venmo me, Venmo me. Every single person does work for me at my home or something. First question I ask them is, do you have Venmo? If they say no, I say, can you get Venmo? That's really, really important to me. So remember, do not focus on this down to this. All that is people were euphoric and now they aren't. Let's look at some of the data from back in July of 2021. The income statement here. In the last 12 months, let me make this a little bit bigger. In the last 12 months, PayPal has done $31 billion in revenue. In the 12 months of 2021, they did $25 billion. So is it a ton more? No, but it's 20% more in about 3 years. Okay? 6 or 7% growth, but the stock is down over 80%. That doesn't mean that's a screaming deal. Would it mean? Because just because the stock is down doesn't make it a good price. Look at the .coms back in the day that went up a ton and then crashed, went to zero. They weren't worth anything to begin with. So just because something's down 80% doesn't mean it's a good value, but it's a good place to start. My logic is if you loved it at $310 a share, you better be selling your children, your spouse, your dogs, your cats, everybody to buy it right here. I'm not giving that financial advice. And remember, just because I own these stocks doesn't mean you should. Do your own analysis, understand it, but it's a good place to start to get an idea of what's going on, okay? Now, let's look what analysts are thinking. Again, analysts, we don't know. They have their bias just like everybody else, but decent growth here, $4.50 a share to almost $7 per share. That's about what, 60% growth in the next 4 or 5 years. And then for revenue, you're looking at mid to high single digits, 7 to 10% revenue growth for the next 5 years. I literally see people on Twitter saying that PayPal is dead. What I see them saying is PayPal is dead. They're looking at the stock price. Guys, you're here on this channel for a reason. And that reason is to be and understand securities. When you buy a stock, you're buying a piece of a business. Don't focus on this. If you've watched our channel over and over again, these are the things I remind myself of every waking second of every day. And this is the stuff I want you to do. So what's PayPal worth to us right now? It's currently at $7 a share. Let me pull it up in our stock analyzer. And guys, I did a 10-year analysis. I did 4, 7, and 10% revenue growth. I did a profit margin of 12.5, 14.5, and 16.5. Guys, here's what I love about PayPal. Their free cash flow is way higher than their profit. So I did 16, 20, and 24. For a PE, I did 14, 17, and 20 because there is a lot more competition in the financial space. So I put a little bit lower. For my desired return, I did 9%. If you're new to the channel, this has 0 margin of safety. This is the market return. Now, I don't suggest you buy a stock, an individual company, based on the market 9 or 10%. It's just to tell me what's the intrinsic value for this company. So I hit the analyze button. Remember, you still need to apply your margin of safety by putting a higher return in there for those of you who have our software and use a stock analyzer tool like they do. Guys, I have a low price of 60 to 75, a high price of 150 to 220, a middle price of 96. I'm looking at, if my middle assumptions occur and I'm right, maybe an 18% return on my money over the next 10 years based on a discounted cash flow model. Again, don't just buy because of this. You need to understand it because if this stock falls further in a market sell-off, you've got to be okay with hearing the bad news and still buying more. I fully expect PayPal to fall from here. Not for any other reason then, I just can't assume I bought at the bottom, okay? So from here, I'm going to sell puts. Since it's below my price right now at 75, I'm going to sell puts probably below 60 bucks. Why? Because at 75 bucks a share right here, below 60, that's ample margin of safety for me. And that's what's worked for me. Stock number 2, Disney Corporation. Boy, have I heard a lot of flack about Disney. It makes me feel good. Paul, Disney's dead. Go woke, go broke, all these things, yada, yada, yada. Maybe. But guys, what kind of artillery of content does Disney have? They have so much content. They dominate the world of content in terms of, especially for kids, and their amusement parks, their cruises, all their experiences. People pay top dollar to go there. They borrow money to go there. Talk about a brand. One of the things I love about Disney is their profit margin has been down. So their profit margin here in the last 5 years averages 2.6%. Last 12 months, 5.3%. But here's what I want to show you about why I'm interested in this company. Go back to pre-COVID. They did $70 billion in revenue. In the one year ended September of 2019, $70 billion in revenue with $11 billion in profit. That's about 15%. Okay, what about the year before that? They did $12.6 billion in profit on $60 billion, over 20%. So you see my point here. To me, it's just a matter of waiting for the company's margins to come to fruition. Because look, they did $90 billion in revenue in the last 12 months, a record, huge record. And they finally made profit on their Disney Plus. A lot of great things going on. Now, guys, this data in our stock analyzer tool and the analyst estimates and everything we have, I've only scratched the surface. You may have noticed if you go to our main website to sign up for the software that we have a limited number of daily spots for our Everything Money community and software. And the reason for that is the software as it exists today currently includes everything we have to offer for stocks, retirement, and real estate. But now we have 4 YouTube channels, and behind the scenes, we are making some really large changes as we continue to expand. These offers are going to be separated, and the current offer of everything is going away very soon. You may remember, if you've been watching us since we started, the software was built selfishly for myself so that my team and I could use it to make better decisions in all aspects of my money and investing. Because remember, I have stocks, I have real estate, I have businesses. But what happened was people would watch our videos and say, hey, how do I get that software? And it sparked the idea of let's create the community for it. And as our channel and community have grown immensely since then, it has to become less about me and more about how I can better serve you and the community members. Now, the good news is these changes haven't been made. So if you join today in the link in the description below, you'll be grandfathered in for life with all the data, all the tools, and every future tool that we make, you will get. You'll get all of it, and you'll stay in your pricing tier forever. This is the best deal we've ever offered. So if you're really serious about making better financial decisions, increasing your returns potentially, but more importantly, sleeping better at night, which will then yield you better returns, click in the link in the description below, get access to everything, and I'm very confident it'll be one of the best decisions you've made all year. Now, back to Disney. Let's go here to the stock analyzer tool. Now, guys, I was a little bit more conservative in the stock analyzer tool on the margin front. Even though we saw 15 or 20% below, I was like, listen, let's say streaming doesn't do as well, even though it's a high margin business. Let's say their 15 or 20% doesn't exist anymore. I did 3, 5, and 7% revenue growth. I did 9, 12, and 15% margin, profit margin, and free cash flow margin. Look at this, guys. They did 9% free cash flow in the last 1 year. That's what's incredible. Now, what's the PE and price of free cash flow? Well, guys, what premium do you put on Disney? This is a top tier company. If I gave you $100 billion and said compete with Disney, you'd probably suffer for a while. It'd be very difficult. What do you put in there? 18, 21, and 24? I could see somebody saying, Paul, I think it's worth 25 times earnings. Yeah, I get that. I absolutely get that. I'm not saying what the right number is. That's the art of investing. That's why you need to have these tools to be able to put your own numbers in there. Some of you might sit there and say, no, Paul, the company's dead. I want to put 10 in there. Okay, fine by me. Do whatever you want. But the key is it allows you to put these numbers in. And I put a 9% desired return in. Again, no margin of safety. I hit the analyze button. Guys, I got a low price of 75, high price of 207, mid price of 130. My middle assumptions will yield about a 14% return. And remember, these free cash flow returns, discounted cash flows, include dividends. So don't think it's a dividends on top of that. All right. Now, stock number 3 is not a company that I own. As you guys know, I own Baba in China. And that's not the company. There's a second company, PDD. Guys, PDD fell drastically in the last few weeks, in the last week. It had a recent high in May of 165. It's currently at 88. And in the last 1 week, it's down 40%. Okay. Now, increase. Let's go look at their income statement. Trailing 12 months, 48 billion. Last year, 35, 18, 13, 8, 4, 1.8. Massively growing business. Okay. Let's go to their free cash flow. Annual statement. 19 in the last year, 13, 6, 3. Come on. $19 billion. What's their market cap? 131. This company is currently selling for 7 times free cash flow. This is all fear about China. And I get that. And there is fear in China. So I sold puts for middle September at $90 a share. Guess what? I'm going to get assigned those at current market. I'm already in the negative on those puts. But remember, I'm okay selling those at that price. Why? Well, let me show you the analyst estimates of this company. Growing to $19 per share in earnings. And this year, they're supposed to do $12.31 per share. Next year, $16, according to analysts. And the stock's at $190 right now. Okay. Stock analyzer tool. Have I ever done PDD? For sure I have. Just yesterday. Now, I'm going to make these even lower. 6, 9, and 12% revenue growth. Profit margin. Last 5 years, they've done 20%, 29% last year. I did 15, 20, and 25. Free cash flow. I kept it 20, 25, and 30, even though I did 37 and 39% in the last 1 year and 5 years. I did 16, 19, and 22 on the PE and price of free cash flow, and I did my 9% return. Guys, before I hit the analyze button, I want you to go click the link in the description below when this video is done in order to sign up for our software. There's a $7 for 7-day trial. I guarantee you'll love it. And also, if you want to see the 18 stocks that I do own, watch our next video. But I hit the analyze button. Boom. I have 96 to 130, 317 to 380, 180 to 226. Big time returns here. Thank you very much for your time.